Yo, what's up everybody? It's Ankit. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The last decade has seen a pretty messed up rise in anti-Hindu actions around the world. And it's not just numbers on a screen. We're talking about real people, real families facing discrimination, violence, and straight up hate. So today we're diving deep into this issue, no holds barred. We're going to unpack the 7 key factors fueling this fire, because understanding the problem is the first step to actually fixing it. Get ready to question everything because this is going to get real. All right, let's talk about where this hate festers. The halls of power. Think about it. In places where Hindus are outnumbered, political games get real ugly, real fast. You've got nationalist movements twisting faith into a weapon, politicians exploiting religious differences to grab power. Suddenly, it's not about governing, it's about us versus them. And guess who becomes the convenient scapegoat? Discrimination ramps up, violence follows, all because someone saw an opportunity to exploit fear for their own gain. It's messed up, but it's a tale as old as time itself. We all know social media can be a dumpster fire, but when it comes to spreading hate, it's basically weaponized wildfire. Think about it, a lie can travel around the world before the truth even puts its shoes on. Now, add in algorithms designed to keep you glued to your screen, feeding you more of what gets you riled up, and boom, suddenly you got fake news, hate speech, and straight-up propaganda about Hindus spreading like a virus. And the worst part, people buy it, they act on it. It goes from online hate to real-world violence, all because someone hit share on a lie. But why does this happen? Why do people fall for misinformation so easily? It's a complex mix of psychology and technology. Our brains are wired to pay more attention to negative information. It's a survival mechanism from our evolutionary past. Combine that with the echo chambers created by social media algorithms, and you have a recipe for disaster. These algorithms show us content that aligns with our existing beliefs, reinforcing our biases and making us more susceptible to misinformation. And let's not forget the role of sensationalism. Outrageous headlines and shocking stories grab our attention more than mundane truths. This is why fake news often spreads faster and wider than factual news. It's designed to provoke an emotional response, making us more likely to share it without thinking critically. So what can we do about it? Awareness is the first step. Understanding how misinformation spreads and why we're vulnerable to it can help us become more critical consumers of information. We need to question the sources of our information, look for evidence, and think twice before hitting that share button. By doing so, we can help break the toxic web of misinformation and create a more informed and less divided world. It's a collective effort, but it's one worth making for the sake of our society and future generations. Let's be part of the solution, not the problem. Together we can make a difference. Look, history is messy, right? And some places carry the weight of that mess more than others. We're talking countries where religious conflict is baked into their DNA, places like Pakistan, Bangladesh, parts of the Middle East. Generations grow up with these old wounds, these stories of us versus them, and it creates a tinderbox waiting for a spark. Then you got religious extremists fanning the flames, twisting faith into a weapon, and suddenly any little thing can set off an explosion of violence. Hindus, often caught in the crossfire, become targets, their safety sacrificed at the altar of ancient grudges. Chapter 4: Rigged Game. When the law itself is the oppressor. Imagine this, you're playing a game, but the rules are rigged against you from the start. That's life for Hindus in some parts of the world. We're talking laws, institutions, the very systems meant to protect everyone, designed to hold them back. Restrictions on religious gatherings? Check. Unequal treatment under the law? You bet. Limited access to basic rights and services. Sadly, a common theme. This isn't just bias, it's systemic oppression woven into the fabric of society, and when the system itself is the problem, it's a whole different fight for justice. Chapter 5: Ghosts of Empires, How History Haunts the Present. We like to think we've moved on from the past, but let's be real, history casts a long shadow. Colonialism, invasions, those scars run deep, shaping how we see the world, how we see each other. And guess what? There are groups out there who love to exploit those old wounds. twisting history to fit their narrative. Suddenly, ancient conflicts are resurrected, old prejudices given new life, all to justify hate against Hindus in the present. It's like we're trapped in a time warp, fighting the same battles over and over again. Chapter 6. Scapegoats and Struggle. When economic anxiety fuels hate, let's be real, money talks, and when times get tough, people get desperate. Economic downturns, job losses, that kind of stress can bring out the worst in us. And guess who becomes the easy target? Minority groups, the outsiders, the ones perceived as different. Suddenly, Hindus in non-Hindu majority countries are blamed for the economic woes, accused of stealing jobs, draining resources. It's classic scapegoating, a dangerous distraction from the real issues at play. But hey, it's easier to point fingers than to fix the system, right? Chapter 7. Global Chessboard. How International Politics Impacts Local Lives. Think of the world as a giant chessboard, each country making its move. These moves are strategic, calculated, and often have far-reaching implications. But here's the thing. Those moves have real-world consequences, especially for everyday people. The decisions made in high-level meetings and summits trickle down to affect the lives of ordinary citizens in ways they might not even realize. When countries with large Hindu populations, like India, have beef with their neighbors or global rivals, guess who gets caught in the crossfire? It's not just the politicians or the military, it's the everyday people who feel the impact most acutely. Yep, Hindus abroad often become pawns in a bigger game, targeted by discriminatory policies or even violence, all because of political maneuvering thousands of miles away. These individuals, who may have never set foot in the countries involved in the conflict, find themselves facing backlash and prejudice. It's a harsh reminder that what happens on the global stage can hit close to home, even if you never signed up for the game. The ripple effects of international politics can be felt in local communities, altering lives in unexpected ways. From economic sanctions that lead to job losses to diplomatic tensions that result in social unrest, the global chessboard is not just a game for the powerful, it's a reality for everyone. Consider how international trade agreements can affect the price of goods in your local market. A decision made in a distant country can determine how much you pay for everyday items like groceries and fuel. Families gather around dinner tables discussing how the latest news might impact their lives, from job security to educational opportunities. Students in classrooms might find their curriculum changing to reflect new geopolitical realities. Workers in factories may face layoffs due to international trade wars. Healthcare workers might see an influx of patients due to global health crises exacerbated by political decisions. The interconnectedness of our world means that no one is truly isolated from the effects of international politics. Community leaders often have to navigate these complex waters, advocating for policies that protect their constituents from the adverse effects of international decisions. Local elections can become battlegrounds for larger geopolitical issues, with candidates taking stances on international matters that resonate with their voters. Despite the challenges, communities often come together to support one another, showing resilience in the face of global uncertainties. Local businesses adapt, volunteers step up, and support groups form to help those affected by international events. It's a testament to the human spirit and the power of community in navigating the complexities of the global chessboard. Outro: building bridges, not walls, a call for change. In a world that's increasingly divided, it's more important than ever to come together and find common ground. Look, this isn't about pointing fingers or playing the blame game. It's about recognizing our shared humanity and the fact that we all have a role to play in making this world a better place. It's about understanding the forces at play, the historical baggage, the political maneuvering, the toxic brew of hate that's festering in our world. We need to acknowledge the past to move forward, to learn from our mistakes and ensure they are not repeated, because only then can we start dismantling it piece by piece. It's a collective effort, requiring each of us to take responsibility and contribute to the solution. We must be willing to engage in difficult conversations and take meaningful actions. We need legal reforms that protect everyone equally, education that promotes understanding, and policies that foster inclusivity. Our laws should reflect our values, ensuring that justice is served fairly and without prejudice. Honest conversations that bridge divides are essential. We must listen to each other, even when it's uncomfortable, and seek to understand different perspectives. Dialogue is the first step towards reconciliation and healing. And for God's sake, we need to shut down the misinformation machine that's poisoning our minds. The spread of false information only serves to deepen divisions and create mistrust. We must be vigilant in seeking the truth and holding those who spread lies accountable. This isn't just about Hindus, it's about building a world where everyone, regardless of their faith, can live with dignity and respect. It's about creating a society where diversity is celebrated and everyone feels valued and included. It's a long fight, but trust me, it's a fight worth fighting. Change doesn't happen overnight, but with persistence and determination we can make a difference. Together we can build bridges, not walls, and create a future where everyone can thrive.